Hello, and welcome to the Community IT Innovators Technology Topics Podcast, where we discuss nonprofit technology, cybersecurity, tech project implementation, strategic planning, and nonprofit IT careers. Find us at communityit.com.
Welcome, everyone, to the Community IT Voices interview series. My name is Carolyn Woodard, and I'm really excited today to welcome Norwin Herrera back to get an update on what he's been doing and a recent promotion. So, Norwin, would you like to reintroduce yourself and tell us what you're doing now?
Right. Thank you, Carolyn. I'm Norwin Herrera. I'm from El Salvador, and I've been in community IT for 3.5 years. Since starting in January this year, 2023, I am the IT business manager team lead. So basically, I'm helping my team to be more, I will say, strategically effective in the work that we do.
How many IT business managers are there on your team?
We have 5 IT business managers, but there is some other, I would say, people in the organization in our company that work as IT business manager. For example, I have I don't know if I can give a name, but I have Nura, who is a senior advisor, we call them, but he is playing the role as an IT business manager, and more on a senior consultant basis, basically. So he joins our team, and then our previous IT business manager team lead also is in our group. He still has some clients that he managed, and also our director, Steve Lonehacker, he still has some clients that he managed. Our operations director, for example, also has some ITBM role. So basically, the team is made out of 6 people, but in reality, we have more than that. We have like 7 or 8, maybe, depending on who we're talking to. So that's what we do. That we meet every week. We have huddles. We talk for 30 minutes on Monday and Wednesday. Basically, we share roadblocks and successes. That's basically what we do on Monday, Wednesday. And then on Tuesday, we have a strategic meeting for IT business manager, the BEATS meeting, we call it, Business IT Solutions group. And in this meeting, we were more into strategic conversations, like, what do we need to learn? What do we need to do? What is the process to implement something? What are the roadblocks that we're facing? And sometimes we have scheduled meetings with account management. We have a scheduled meeting with services operations. I mean, help desk and on-site support. And sometimes we have meetings with centralized services, which is the team that is basically working and providing patches, updates. They basically are monitoring all the equipment. So we have strategic meetings with each of them during a period of time, and it's very interesting because this company success relies on the share of the knowledge that we have. So I think I mentioned this before, but this is a very unique company, because usually when I was younger, the less I share, the more I thought that I was needed for the company. And I thought I had more power by sharing less. When I came to community IT, I mean, now I'm older, of course, and the way of thinking is completely different. But I think, and I believe that the more I share is the more that I get into this interesting place where people say, I need him. You see what I mean? Like, it's quite the opposite when I was younger than now. So it is really interesting, and is the way that we're doing the success of community IT, because we share knowledge. We don't keep it to ourselves. The more we share, the more we learn, the more effective we are with the work that we do with our clients.
So you used to be an IT business manager and you had those clients, which I assume you still have. Can you talk a little bit about what the IT business managers do? I think it's so interesting the way you were just describing your team kind of sits at the center of this wheel, connecting all of these different pieces like the help desk and client support and the centralized services. So how do IT business managers work with their clients?
Well, the life cycle of an IT business manager is basically start in the onboarding of the client. And we have this process, this method of qualifying the clients. I think it's an ETL method that we use, where the client is in a stage 1 and it moves all the way to a stage 5. So a stage 1 means chaos, right? The client comes from another provider, and usually what happens is documentation is missing, processes are missing, this is a random way of doing things. There is not like a system to understand and to notify that something is going to expire. For example, something basic, the website, for example, your website, the name of your website is going to expire. Sometimes they don't have that. And what happens is when they don't have that in a system, it's failure, right? It's the road to failure. So in the beginning, when we get as ITBMs, basically we have to sort it out, like see what is there that is the most painful thing in the organization, and we work in remediating that. That's stage 1. So we focus on the pain points that the organization have. Why? Well, because in the moment that we start doing this, alleviating the pain, is we start getting trust, right? The organization trusts us on taking care of them. And then we're starting building a relationship with our client. And then we move to the other stage, right? Between 2 and 3. So after taking care of the pain, we start thinking strategically. So what is the most important thing that we need to address in the next 6 months to a year? And this is, some things can be human intervention and some things needs to be financial intervention. So sometimes the organizations are not ready to the transition. So we need to build a budget. So when we build the budget, the organization will have the money in the future to invest in technology, because technology is not a waste. Technology is an investment. So stage 1, chaos. Stage 2 and 3, we start working on the things that are the most important and that we can remediate without having too much money to invest. And then stage 4 and 5 is when the organization is already mature. We're going to call them a mature organization. We already have multi-factor authentication. We already have autopilots in place to deploy computers. We already have, all the security around emails. We move them to the cloud, for example. Instead of having servers, because it doesn't make any sense to have servers, we move to serverless, which is our ultimate goal. Why? Because if they are serverless, it's less money invested, less human intervention, and also it's more scalability. So the organization had the opportunity to grow easily. You know what I mean? Like we move them to a place that they can have 100 employees, 200 employees, 1,000 employees. It doesn't matter, because we already scaled them. And then it became this moment that we are more like a senior advisors to them. And then that is when Nura takes place, because Nura is the senior advisor. So he starts talking to organizations who are really mature, and they understand their strategic move. They understand what they're going to do in the next year and the next 2 years. So this is the role of the ITBM. Bring an organization from stage 1 to stage 5 and be with them for that period of time. Can be a year or can be 2 years. It can be depending on the organization. It's not depending on us. We give you the roadmap, but in reality, it's the organization pace wherever they want to move on, we move with them, because we at Community IT meet them where they need us. No, it's what we want, it's what they want.
That makes sense. That's a great way to talk about that journey that that the clients go through. I want to make sure to clarify, when you say that an organization, a nonprofit, is mature, you mean in terms of IT maturity and their relationship with, I guess, IT as a necessity of doing business or as a strategic opportunity? And do you see different stages of IT maturity at different levels? Like, it could be a small or nonprofit, it could be a larger nonprofit, it could be a startup, it could be an older nonprofit, but their IT maturity doesn't depend on like how long they've been around or how big they are. Can you talk a little bit about how you kind of understand that?
Yes, from my perspective, the IT maturity is more in terms of the relationship we have with the point of contact. The point of contact plays a really strategic role with the organization, because they are the ones delivering the messages that we are giving them. So we tell them this is important because of this. If they communicate that with the staff they have, the whole staff is more into the habits of receiving improvements, IT improvements, I'm going to call it. So that creates the maturity with the staff, because the staff is more aware of changes, aware of technology changes. And then the point of contact gets more knowledge. And then when the point of contact gets more knowledge, they start realizing, oh, this makes sense for our organization. They are protecting us not only hardware wise, but we're also protecting them in other aspects, cybersecurity, and every aspect they want to be protected, we help them with. Right now, there is something that is very common, that's coming common, which is the cyber insurance is asking them for a lot of questions. So when they start asking those questions, they say, okay, I don't know what this cyber insurance people is talking about. So they come to us. And when they say, Norwin, do we have this? Do we have this? Do we have this? And I start saying, no, this is what I mentioned to you 6 months ago. And then you said you're going to put it on hold. This is something that you are working on, or this is something that we already did. You see what I mean? Like, we already give them a heads up at the beginning, because it's part of our job to do a roadmap. So when the cyber insurance come and they are asking for some things, we basically said, we already talked about it, and we're just waiting for you to make a call. And then the client understands why we gave them their advice. And then they get more, okay, now I get it. Let's move on. You see what I mean? So we start moving. So it's interesting to see the maturity in all levels. Also, we mature with them, because the more we work with the clients, the more we know them, and the easiest it is for us to give them an advice. And then, on the other hand, I think you asked me if it has to do with timing. I don't think it has to do with timing. It has to do more with the willingness of the organization to improve. If they want to improve, they can do it really fast. You know what I mean? It is the way it works. If a point of contact that can be a chief operation officer, it can be a chief technology officer, it can be an IT manager, it can be the financial person, doesn't matter who the person is, but if the person is really engaged and really compromised to improve technology in the organization, this can be done in a year, I can say. I mean, I have a client that I've been working with them for more than a year, but they are so big that it's taking me longer than I expected. But the good thing is, the more we try to improve, the more we realize that we are moving in the right pace. You see what I mean? It's not that it was rushed at the beginning. I wanted to rush it at the beginning, but in reality, it's not like that. I need to go with the pace that the organization moves. And sometimes that requires proper communication, proper understanding of the structure they have internally. So it's a lot of factors playing in there. But the good thing is, when you make a roadmap and then you're moving, you kind of realize with timing, oh, I made the right decision at the beginning to recommend something. Or you also can have the time to adjust your strategy. You see what I mean? Like the ITBMs see the strategy, and then in the moment they realize, oh, we're moving in the wrong direction because we needed to do B before A. So let's do B before A. It's not hurt, you see? So this is maturity. Maturity is from the client, from the users, and from us.
I love it. That's such a great analogy of it being this relationship, that you're building the relationship over time. I think the last time that we talked, you were telling me a little bit also about some methods you use to build that roadmap. So I wonder if you could talk a little bit more about that. I know that you take a snapshot when the client comes in. You were talking about, like, you make a list of all of their systems, all their hardware, all of the pain points that you hear from the contact or from staff about things that aren't working the way they're supposed to be working. And then I know last time you told me too that you monitor the help desk requests. So that's another place where the IT business manager can get a feeling for what's going on. Like if you have this same kind of request over and over, it's like clearly that's an opportunity, right? You can improve in that area so that maybe those types of requests will go down. Can you talk about a little bit more about the other ways that you put the roadmap together, and what does a roadmap look like generally?
Yeah, usually after the onboarding process, that it takes sometimes 3 months or 2 months or whatever the time the organization needs to build up everything and collect the data, we receive a snapshot. The snapshot is, what do they have? How do they have it? If they see something that it needs to be addressed immediately, as I mentioned it before, basically we start building from that. And then we have a regular check-ins. The check-ins come based on the need of the organization. You can meet every week. We can meet bi-weekly. We can meet bi-monthly. We can meet bi-monthly every 2 months, every quarter, or we can meet every 6 months. It depends on the organization. But in the moment that you start checking with them, the ITBM start checking with them, we start going through the snapshot first. So we make a list of things that we need to address. And then we start, what should we do first? How do we do it? That's basically the main question. And then we get the approval from the point of contact to move on. And the moment that we do that, and the other side, like on our administrative side, we create a dashboard. So I have a dashboard where I can see how many devices they have, how many accounts they have, how many, what is the structure of the network they have, everything. So I start looking at everything, and then suddenly, tickets start popping up in my dashboard, meaning people is calling and they are requesting support, and then documentation comes, because at the beginning it's like, okay, how do we do this, right? Like help desk doesn't know how to do things, so I need to agree with the point of contact. What is the process to, for example, create a new account, to offboard a new account if somebody's leaving the organization? What do we do with the data? So we start to connect the dots, right? So at the beginning, it's very, I will say, it's very demanding, because we need to figure it out the way to provide them with support. And the work of the ITBM is to document the processes. So when help desk get a request, we know what to do. So they go to the client folder. We use something that we call IT Glue, and the client side is called My Glue. So they can see the process. So we know step A, step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. So they know everything they need to do to create an account, for example, and they know what to do to offboard a person. So we do this at the beginning, right? And the moment that we do that, then we start more strategic. So you have 7 servers. The question we have for them is, why do you have 7 servers, right? I mean, what is the needs for each server? Or you have a domain controller, you have a file server, you have a server for remote desktop server, You have, so they start building up servers for whatever. I have 2 locations, so they created 2 servers, 1 server here, 1 server there. So usually that's the first thing we do. And we say, okay, when is the time to renew your servers, for example? Let's say it's in the 2025. We're in 2024, but your renewal is next year. Instead of renewing your servers, because it's going to cost you about $10,000 per server, we offer you to migrate the files to SharePoint, because it doesn't make sense to invest $10,000 every 5 years when you can invest $10,000 one time and you migrate everything to the cloud. And basically you can remove the remote desktop server. You can basically, get rid of your file server. And also you have the security, no more VPN to connect to the server, no more configuration. So we make it easy for you, so that's part of the planning. And then we put it in the roadmap, and then we wait, because there is no way we can move without the client's approval. We always get the client's approval first and in writing. So we make sure that you respond to us in an email, because if you just tell me by phone, Norwin, please go ahead, I'm not going to proceed. I need to send you an email. You need to approve that you are saying that we can move ahead, because later somebody can say, no, I didn't say approve, and what is going to be my word against your word? No, we don't work like that. The way we work is you send me an email or you sign an agreement to get an approval and proceed with the process. So basically that's how we build the roadmap. We start analyzing your network, analyzing your most frequent tickets, and then we start thinking strategically what we can do to improve your processes and also to make it easier. So a good client is the client that doesn't get tickets. That's in my ideal world. The less tickets, the more successful you are with the client.
Of course. So I want to go back to something you said earlier about budgeting. So it seems like, we were just talking about how much it costs to have a physical server versus making a one-time payment to move to the cloud and have those licenses instead. And I wondered, you said that you help the clients with their budget. So you use the budgeting process, and you don't do their budget for them, but you provide, like, we have expertise in the landscape, what tools are available, what the licenses cost, what a server costs. And so you can lay that all out for them as they're going through their budget process. But can you talk about, do you have some partners, some clients where they actually want you to be very involved in the budgeting of like what this is going to cost, how much we need to invest, where we're going to get to?
Yes. And usually we have a template. So in the template, we have everything. So we have the domain names, the hosting for your site, the security for the servers, the licenses for the servers. We put everything. Basically, we have a template that it contains most of the things. Also, we start thinking about the replacement of your computers, because the computers, the laptops, usually the end of life is after 3 to 4 years. Laptops, desktops, 4 to 5 years. But there is not too many desktops in the environments anymore. So mostly we go by laptops. And somebody will say, no, but my personal laptops last 6 years, 7 years. Yes, because you don't use your laptop every day. You know what I mean? Like, your personal laptop is not in a high demand as it is your work laptop. Your work laptop is turned on every morning and turn off later at the day. So basically every single day that computer is working, every single day from Monday to Friday. If somebody's a workaholic and they work on Saturday, so add one more day to that. So it's basically in 52 weeks, you only rested like 100 days. So your computer has been working for about 200 and something days a year. That is a lot. The body goes wrong, the battery goes wrong, the components in the computer might get messed up. So basically we recommend you to change your computer every 3 to 4 years, and we put that in the budget. Like, we know when your devices are going to expire, so we tell you next year you need to replace at least 5 or 10 devices or 20 devices, depending on the devices that are going to expire. So that is in the budget. It's part of the budgeting process. And also autopilot. Now we're helping more and more clients to move to autopilot, because before every single computer needs to be configured. So we used to do a manual configuration per device. That is about 3 to 4 hours per user that you invest. So if we do it, we bill the client 4 hours of time. So with autopilot, we charge you $1,175 one time, and we can deploy 100 computers if we want. Easy, because the basic goes in there. You know what I mean? Like we install Office, we install Google Chrome, Mozilla, we install Adobe, and we install one more. I think it's Zoom now. It's part of the standard. So those 5 software are installed automatically, and the only thing that you need to do, and also we add up security, which is BitLocker. So the only thing you need to do is turn on the computer, follow the steps that we send you, the instructions, and then put your username and password, and the computer automatically will install everything, including the Sentinel-1, which is the antivirus that we deploy to our computers. So that's a time saving. That's a savings that goes in the budget as well. So we make sure that we include every single aspect in the budget. So we help them if they want to. We can help them to build the budget for a year, for 2 years, for 3 years. If they don't want our help, we give them the template, and they can use it at their discretion, or they can match it up with their own budget that they have.
I think that's just such an advantage of the way that we partner with those clients. So besides having outsourced IT, that's like a monthly rate that what that cost is going to be. And then we can work with you on your budget. So like it's all, like you said, it's all there in the template. What you're going to have to budget for, and you can take that into your budget meetings. So that's just another piece that's such an advantage to having the ITBM working on your account. So I love it. So is there anything different about being the team leader that you want to talk about, that you've maybe learned from being the leader after being an IT business manager?
Well, the difference is now that I can't complain, because I'm the one who I'm supposed to be doing the work, right? So what I'm doing now is mostly, and I already talked to my team, like, I'm not your boss. Let's be clear about that. I'm just a person who can help you in collaborating and putting everything in place so they can work faster. That's basically what I am. I am a collector of processes, ideas, and a strategic implementation, so our company can be ready for the growth that we can face in the future. So basically, I'm trying to organize everything and put everything in place, so when the ITBM needed, they can have it right away. So we created something that we call the Bits Universe. I have made an internal website. It's in SharePoint. So SharePoint has the ability to have some internal pages, like it is a website, but it's an internal consumption. We used to call it intranet. So it's kind of the intranet. So I share links there, I share documents there, I share processes there, frequently asked questions. So we have everything ready. So when the organization requests something to the ITBM has it handy, so they can go click, 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 get it, and deliver to our client. So basically, that's my work. I'm trying to think strategically. I'm trying to work less, of course. That's my main goal always. I'm a computer programmer, so every time I'm doing something, it's like, how can I maximize my time? It's always like that. It's a natural habit that I have. So every time I'm doing something, I say, okay, if I did this, somebody else might need it, so I'm going to share it. So I keep sharing things that I have done in the past, or I have done it. Like yesterday, we have something very interesting about Barracuda. Barracuda was fixing something, implementing something. So I wrote an email to my client, but we have, more than 150 clients. So I send it to some of the ITBM team and say, this is the email I use. You can modify it, but here's the template. So I send it to them. So it was like, oh, thank you, I need it. So somebody says, they pick it up, modify it a little bit and send it to their clients, you see? So by doing that, just save time for every single ITBM, for every client. So it can be a minute, it can be 2 minutes, but 2 minutes multiplied by 150, that you can make the numbers, right?
I love it. That's I think that's like another advantage, that in addition to, unlike other MSPs where really you're only interacting with the help desk and really they're only solving the problem that you're having right now, and they're not thinking strategically about what you need to invest in, the roadmap, what you need to change to have fewer help desk requests, right? Mm-hmm. So at Community IT, we have an ITBM who helps with that strategic process for each of their clients, but then those IT business managers have their team to rely on. So really, you're not even just getting your own ITBM as a client, you're getting the expertise and knowledge of this whole team of 9 people that are assembled, that they can ask each other for best practices and next steps. So that's just another advantage. It's just wonderful. So
and let me tell you something. If you think about it, you are really having a high-end professional service from Community IT, a lower price, because you're paying a lower price to get all these people who's capable of doing anything. We can deliver anything if you want, based on, except developing software or code or something like that. We don't get into that details. Some of us might do it though, but we choose to stay in Community and do something else.
I love it. Thank you so much. This is a great explanation. I've got a lot to think about after having this talk with you. I just really appreciate your time so much, Norwin. Thank you for catching us up on what you're doing now.
Thank you for the invite, and I hope people get into our website to search for more information. We have webinars every month that are very, very, very interesting. So that'll be a way to get to us.
Thank you.
Community IT does these free webinars and podcasts for our community, and we love sharing our knowledge and experience. If you have more questions or are having trouble with your IT at your nonprofit, please get in touch with us on our website, www.communityit.com, so we can start a conversation or schedule an assessment. Downloading any of our free resources there will get you signed up for our webinar reminders, and you can attend our next webinar in real time and ask our experts your own questions. If you love podcasts, please subscribe and leave us a rating to help others find this leadership resource for nonprofits.